How do you communicate better in your relationship? I think that we can all agree that communication is like a cornerstone, needed backbone, foundational thing in order to have a long-lasting, healthy relationship. I mean, any relationship advice you see on this app, they're going to say you need to have communication. And to most people, they're kind of like, but how do I do that? So I'm going to help you. First and foremost, you're going to think that this does not even fall into the category of communication, but it does, which is why a lot of people struggle with communication, but you got to practice active listening. If you are talking to your partner, please focus on what they are saying without interrupting them and without using your time while they are talking, thinking of what you are going to say next in an effort to prove them wrong or prove yourself right or win the argument. But when you are actively listening to your partner, this allows you to truly be able to empathize with them and truly understand where they are coming from, as well as ask them questions. Ask them for clarity, where you say, okay, this is what I heard you say. Is that what you meant by that? And then that gives your partner the opportunity to be like, no, that is not what I meant by that. Let me phrase it differently for you. Next, this one should go without saying, but you gotta be open and honest and fully transparent. You gotta know how and really learn how to share your thoughts, how to identify and share your feelings, and also not be afraid to bring up any concerns that you have in your relationship. It is so important to avoid keeping your thoughts and your feelings and everything that's going on up here and in here bottled up. And if your partner asks you if something is wrong, do not just answer and say, I am fine. No, nothing is wrong. No, nothing is wrong. And then you sit there looking out the window with your arms crossed because something is wrong. And then we start saying passive aggressive things, or I am very guilty of this, copying an attitude, thinking that our partner can just read our mind and know what is wrong and what is bothering us and what we are feeling. Newsflash, they can't read your mind. So you got to learn how to identify what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you need from them, and what's going on in your head and your heart, and then be able to share that with them. And to make that part a little bit easier, you're going to want to do this next step, which is get very familiar with using I statements. So instead of saying, well, you did this and you did that, and operating from a very accusatory place, operate from, well, I feel this way because X, Y, Z, and this is what I need from you moving forward. This is going to prevent your partner from getting very defensive. And when someone gets defensive, then you get defensive. And then that's when emotions arise, and then there is no productivity in that conversation at all. So really practice using I statements. This one is so important too. So make sure you listen to this one. You have got to validate your partner's feelings. Bottom line, you don't have to agree with them, but you do have to validate them. Because by validating them, this allows your partner to really feel like you see the validity in their feelings, because they are entitled to feel however they feel, the same way you are entitled to feel however you feel. And if you don't agree with it or not, that doesn't take away the realistic feeling that they are experiencing. So maybe you didn't try to hurt their feelings, or maybe you didn't try to say something that made them very angry or upset, but regardless of the fact, it did, because that is their perspective, that is their reality. So whether you agree with that feeling or not, it is your responsibility to get in the habit of validating your partner's feelings, because that helps them feel seen, that helps them feel understood, and that helps them feel safe expressing their feelings to you to begin with. And next, if you're going to have a heavy conversation, make sure you choose the right time and the right place. Environment and timing is everything. So if you want to have a heavy conversation or something is really bothering you, I would suggest not starting that conversation the minute your partner walks in the door from wherever they have been, at work, out with friends, because they are going to feel bombarded and they are going to feel overwhelmed. So instead, make sure they've had some time to digest their day or whatever happened, okay? And ask them, hey, do you have the time and the space to have a conversation right now? Because I would really like to talk to you. And then on the opposite end, if you do not have the space to have that convo, say, listen, I'm really tired right now. I just got home from work. Let me take a couple of minutes to debrief from my day, and then we can kind of sit down and talk so I can be fully present for this conversation. Next, please be respectful, okay? Please listen to this one. It is so important that you treat your partner with respect and kindness. And I understand that emotions can run really, really high, and sometimes we say hurtful things in the moment that we never really meant to say to begin with. But please do your best to avoid hurtful language, to avoid raising your voice and or resorting to personal under the belt attacks, because that is going to stick with your partner. I was in a verbally abusive relationship, and all he would do is yell at me, and all he would do was give under the belt comments and criticisms and say very hurtful things to me. And that stuff sticks with your partner. Words replay in our minds over and over and over again. So if you say something really hurtful or really harmful, it's very difficult to take that back. Lastly, practice patience and understanding, my loves. Effective communication and doing this stuff takes time. It takes practice. It is a muscle that we literally have to be exercising all of the time to get better at doing. So remember to be patient with each other while you guys are working through any misunderstandings or conflict, and really just remain so focused on finding a solution. And of course, a lot of this stuff can feel really overwhelming. Okay, so if you ever need support, if you ever want professional help, always feel free to reach out to me, book a session, ask for some video relationship advice. I got you, okay?